Welcome back to Global News Morning. No doubt with the pandemic, a lot of kids are staying at home. A lot of kids are playing with toys. Please join me in welcoming from Uptown Tidy. We have Christina Campbell, a home organization expert and certified KonMari consultant, here to talk about how to train kids to put away toys. Before we get to that, Christina, wishing you a great morning. What is a KonMari consultant?
Well, many people might be familiar with Marie Kondo. She's the Japanese organizing expert. She's the star of her own Netflix series. So this is sort of a movement that really it took a lot of popularity over the last few years. And certainly as we're all spending more time at home and getting organized, there's quite a lot in her method, which talks to keeping things that spark joy and putting them in their place so you can enjoy them.
And you can apply this to kids. How do you get started with kids?
Well, absolutely. I say right from the very beginning, with my own kids, when they were very, very little, we incorporated that right from baby stage. We really, talked about their things. And as we put things away, we talk to them about that and we narrate what we're doing. So right from the very earliest stages, it's not too early to start getting your kids thinking about organizing.
And, it's not so much how many toys they have, it's how they store their toys, I believe.
Absolutely. I mean, when you've got mountains and mountains of stuff, it's hard to see the forest from the trees. So I do recommend sort of looking at that collection as a whole. But you're right. It's all about tidying them. It's about promoting independence. A lot of parents might be surprised when I say this, but their kids really do want their toys and their belongings to be organized and accessible. But the problem is that they often don't know how to do that. We tell them to tidy up, but they don't really know what that means. So we need to teach them.
Well, give us some tips.
Well, we want to start by taking stock. This is an important part of the process. So, sort of no matter what age they are, we want to start by taking all their toys, gather them up from all over the house. We've got some in the basement, some are in their bedroom, some are in the living room. Gather them all up into one big pile. This helps them, not only gain perspective around how much they actually have, but it also sort of uncovers certain things that they thought were lost forever. So when they see it all in that one big pile, it really helps them to sort of gain an idea of what they've got. And then we want to start arranging them. And kids are really good at categorizing. So we want to get their stuff into 3 piles. We're going to have a pile or a bin. I really recommend it is that we start with 3 Rubbermaid bins. A bin for their things that are to keep. So these are their favorites, the stuff they're always playing with. We want to have a bin for donations, so things that they don't really play with anymore, they've outgrown. And then finally, we want to have a pile for garbage. And this is things, I don't like the garbage pile to be too big. It's not great for the environment, but sometimes things are, they're broken beyond repair or they're missing a lot of pieces. Something that another kid won't be able to really enjoy goes in the garbage pile. So once you've got your 3 piles, we really want to get the garbage pile and the donation pile out of sight. So this is a big thing that, a lot of people have a problem with. They'll say, oh, we try. And then the little hands come and start picking things back out. Once they've made their decision to let it go, move it out of sight so they can just focus on what they've chosen to keep. And then you're going to deal with those other 2 piles, the donation and the garbage. Deal with it when they're out of the house or when they're, maybe having nap time. They've made the decision. Now you help them let it go.
What do you do with the keepers pile now?
Okay, so we've got the keepers. Now, what's really important, this is crucial, is that we're going to categorize even further, and we want to be able to contain like with like. So a big mistake that some parents make is that they'll give kids sort of a big, huge toy bin or a toy box, and everything ends up in one big pile. And as kids get older, what happens is their toys start to get smaller. So a lot of parents will be familiar with the freakouts that happen when they can't find that tiny little Barbie purse or the ninja sword. It's all sunk to the bottom. So we want to really categorize like with like. So break things down into the smallest categories and then give those categories a home. So as you can see here, I've got sort of smaller containers that are, specific toys, and then those can go into the bigger containers. So that's pretty crucial. Another thing for small things is kids have a lot of really special things. So things that might not belong in one of these categories, but they're really special and dear to them, and they're small and they get lost and they end up all around the house. So I love to give kids A special things box. So this is just a box. You might find it at the dollar store, but it's got a lot of little divided segments, and that's where some of their little special things go. We've got a special seashell, and we've got a birthday badge, things that they want to hold on to and that are important to them, but won't get lost with other things. So that special thing box will, be stored wherever they see fit. But that's quite important to be able to keep those things separate.
As I'm listening to you, it sounds as if you can also instill in them a sense of responsibility in all this.
Yeah, definitely. Responsibility and independence. So we really want to be able to make it easy for kids. We want to be able to let them get the toys themselves. We want to be able to let them play with them by themselves, and we want them to put them away by themselves. So what we've got to do is make it easy for them. So if you've got something stored sort of up a little bit high where they can't reach, that's fine, but make sure they have a step stool that they can reach, get to. We want to avoid really tight fitting lids that are hard for them, for little fingers to be able to get to. We want to use clear containers if we can, because just like I tell adults, when something is out of sight, it's out of mind. So let them see what they have. And another important thing is labels. I say label everything. Now, when kids are really small, a bunch of words on a container are going to mean nothing for them. So when my kids were small, I put these graphic labels on. And then once they eventually started to be able to read, we incorporated the words, and that actually sort of helped some of their early reading skills. So those are definitely the tips for, promoting independence. Kids love their collections. They spend their allowance on them, or adults, big kids as well. They spend their allowance on them. They get them for Christmas, and they really love to take pride in them. So I love to recommend really displaying their collections. My son is big into hockey cards. So we have a number of these little guys. They're easy to find. So this not only helps display the card, but also keeps them protected. It's quite easy if you go into a craft store to be able to find a frame that can go on the wall, and it's got little segments, and you can switch out the cards as you wish. Another one is sort of Lego. They might spend sort of hundreds of hours putting something together. You don't want to just sort of dunk it into a bin. So I really love these. These are acrylic risers. You might often see them in a retail setting, but these are easy to order online. So you can sort of have these on top of a dresser and display their little collections of rocks or shells, and it makes it feel a little bit more special and doesn't end up in the bottom of a bin somewhere. Another thing is Lego figurines, these little guys that are, you end up finding them all over the house, or at least
Stepping
I was.
on
So
them.
I crafted this little thing. Yes, exactly. That hurts at 2 a.m. I created this little guy. It's just a simple. It's a tiered spice rack that I got from the dollar store. I got some Lego tape, which you can find at any store, any toy store, sorry. And that's where the little Lego figurines, they sit, and they're all in one space, and they're nice to display and find when you're looking for them. And then a final thing is, when we talk about displaying things, they're not a toy per se, but I like to talk about books, because they're often displayed in the same, or they're stored in the same place as toys. So I like to talk about books. So behind me here, you'll see all the books are facing outward. And if you've got a wall, or if you've got some space to be able to do this, I really recommend that, because when we store kids' books the same way as adults' books, they're these little tiny spines. They don't really see what's there. They can't really figure it out. So I love to display them outward, and it also shows the beautiful artwork, and it brings some color to the room. And this is just a really simple system that my dad built for my kids a few years ago. It's a few 2x4s and some trim, quite simple to be able to pop up on a wall for anyone who's a little bit handy.
Great advice. We thank you so much. Once again, Christina Campbell from uptowntidy.com on simple organization tips. Appreciate that. We're going to give you a commercial break now. Stay with us. Global News Morning continues. We'll see you after the break. But Christina and I are going to talk about maybe trading some hockey cards. What do you got?